We understood very well what is name resolution, DNS and all. After that, we also understand that how DNS works and how DNS name look like, and we started all this. And if you are is this your first session, please watch our previous videos. It is there in our YouTube and Ekascloud Facebook page, so that you can understand this session. So let's get started. So what we are going to discuss today is understanding DNS query requests. So in our today's session, we are going to understand so let me check the previous what we have. So we install DNS and configure DNS, right? Let's take this as a fifth point. DNS traffic. Fifth point is DNS traffic. DNS traffic. So what query will be generate? What query will generate to resolve the DNS name to IP? So we have to understand. Let me tell you the first DNS query is DNS standard query request. DNS standard query request. And the DNS standard query response. We have two queries here. One is DNS standard query request and DNS standard query response. So what is it? What is query request? What is query response? Understand in detail. So let me take a DNS server and DNS client. Let me take this topology. I'll copy this topology, I'll paste it here so that I can explain you more. See, when name resolution has to happen, so DNS client has to send a request. So before that I have to have a DNS server and zone, everything, right? Let me go back to my PCs. I say go to C1. So here this is known as a DNS server, which I already installed a DNS service in this computer. It is opening, or I close this. I will go to run. I will use one command, dns mgmt.msc. This is a command to open DNS management, which means DNS manager console, where I can go to servers, where I can right click new zone. I'm creating a zone once again for your convenience and for your understanding who is watching for first time. We go with the primary zone and we click next and we say Ekascloud, ekascloud.com, and go next and next and next, finish. By this way we created a zone. After creating a zone, we can create records. We can create records. What type of record I can create? I can create a host record. So a type of record, host record, a type of record which resolves fully qualified domain name to IP address. Before that we have some records called NS record. What is NS record? NS record allows to read the zone. So let's have a small line about NS record and SOA record. What is NS record? Name server. Name server record. What this record does, it allows to read the zone. It allows to read the zone. if any DNS server wants to read the zone, so we have to create the NS record. We need not to create an NS record, which automatically creates the NS record. And there is another type of record called start of authority, staff authority, FOA record. What this record, it allows to create, modify and delete the zone. And we can create one more record called host record, host A, so which indicating IPv4 record. What this record, it allows to resolve FQDN to IP address, which means IPv4 address. So this record which allows to resolve fully qualified domain name to IP address. How to create this record? Let me go to DNS server. We go back to DNS server. Let me check where is my DNS server. Here. So here is a DNS server. In that DNS server, what I will do, I will go to zone. In that zone, I will right click on it, new host. In that host, I will create a new record with the name of www. This is the host record, and I can say the IP address. What IP address I have to mention here? What IP address I can mention? C2's IP address. Let me go and check what is a C2 IP address. So we go here, we check IP config. Here 172.0.20. So this is 20 IP address. What I do, I go back to C1. I will type the same IP address 172.30.0.20. So you understood, right, how to create these records. So after this, what we have to do, we say add host. So this is how creating record successfully in DNS zone. To create this record, to create host record, which records helps me to create this record? SOA. Which record allows me to reading this record? NS. Without these two records, it's not possible to do anything. Are you clear so far? Now what I do, I will go back to C2, not C2. I have to go to C3 and go to C3 computer. In C3, let me check what IP address I have. I will change the color. After changing this 72.30, see, I will clear. I pinging. Let me increase fonts a little bit for your convenient. Now it's okay. Now I'm pinging. What IP address? 172.30.0.20. I will be able to ping successfully because IP addresses are able to ping. But what I supposed to get ping? So what happened? If I go to ping once again, I have to go and check with www.ekascloud.com. So what happened? Will it ping? Will it give successful reply? Yes or no? Let us enter this. See, what is the error message? I am getting this error message, ping request could not find the host, because what is the reason why it is not getting a response? Means what I have to do, I have to configure the preferred DNS of the server, which we already discussed in the previous sessions also. So I will go back to ncpa.cpl. In that connections, I will go to connection. I click here. I go to IPv4. I have to set the preferred DNS 172.30.0.10 is the preferred DNS IP address of DNS server, and go OK. I just confirmed and OK. Now what happened? I go and ping once again. I will get successful reply. See, reply is not the output. Remember, reply is not the output. Reply, the response is the name has been resolved with IP address. Name resolved with IP address. That's the response. That is a successful. So how it gets resolved? That's a matter. That's a question here. How this got resolved? So if we want to know how it got resolved, so what we have to do? We have to go to monitor. We have to go to monitor the background traffic, so that we can check and confirm what's happening in the background. See, this is very important when you are going to troubleshoot. When you are trying to troubleshoot, when you want to solve the problem, when you want to find the problem. So this is very important. You have to find the reason what's happening in the background to solve the problem. So that we have to learn basics, which means in depth of DNS traffic. Let's go into deep dive into DNS traffic. For that, what I have to do, I have to bring a tool called Network Monitor, which we already discussed in some classes, called Network Monitor. Network Monitor tool. What I do, I will install Network Monitor tool in this computer, so that I can show you, I can capture the traffic which is coming from the client. So let me go back to DNS server. I go to DNS C1. I am in C1. See, I have already one Network Monitor tool. I am just installing that Network Monitor tool here, so that I can monitor the traffic. It is installing. If you have any queries regarding this session about DNS, you can feel free to ask anything related to this. I give next. It's supposed to install. It is have to accept agreement under installing. I just say complete install. Now it is installing. Now it is installing. So what is this tool? It is used to monitor the background traffic. Okay, whatever traffic which generates by the network. So this will be used by, it will capture the network and use that network adapter to capture and see the network traffic. It's loading all that. We have to wait for few seconds. Once it get loaded, so that we can use this to capture. If you have any queries regarding this DNS, you can post comment. It's taking little bit time, but it should finish it fast, no problem. it's taking little bit time. Yeah, finished, done, super. Now what I have to do, I've opened this network monitor tool. Once I open this network monitor tool, what I have to do, I have to go with say no and uncheck this, selecting the Ethernet adapter and start capture. I capture and start capture. If the capture is going on, now the capture is going on, there's a lot of traffic is getting captured because my laptop and the computer is got connected to internet. Don't worry, we will understand very clearly. So what I do, I will use one command, ipconfig/flush DNS. I will tell you why I am using this, because it is a top secret command. But I will ping once again www.ekascloud.com. I will be able to get the result. See, I can see that entire result is getting successful reply. After this, what I have to do, I have to go to C1. I'll go to C1. I'll stop the capture and and I have to filter the traffic, which is DNS, so that I can see only DNS traffic. I hope you can see this font and all. It is visible very clearly. See, please focus on this topic, otherwise you will get bored, because it is not a topic, it is not like a movie where you can see, sit, understand the comedy scene, some fight scene, not like that. You have to understand thoroughly to understand, to get the benefit of it. See here, what is my source? Source is what? Let's go to the picture. Where is my topology? Here is my topology, right? Who is my client? 30 is sending request. Request is, so what is the request? See, we are getting inside the traffic. Okay, 30 source, 10 destination. What is the traffic? What I said you, standard query. Is it clear? Standard query. Standard query for what? What is asking? www.ekascloud.com. So the client PC is sending one request to DNS server who is ekascloud.com under www. See, understand my question. Understand my question very clearly. I will go back. Let me bring some icons so that you feel like a funny thing. Think like he is a client. Okay, he is server. His guy is client, he is server. The client is asking to whom? Server. He is asking to server. What is asking? Hello boss. What is asking? Who is www under ekascloud.com? Do you understand? Who is www under ekascloud.com? This is my query request. The request for what? www under where? Ekascloud. Because record inside the zone, not zone inside the record. Understand this? www is a record, ekascloud.com is a zone. So the client is requesting who is www under ekascloud.com. That is the meaning of this standard query request. Do you understand? If you understood, give S in comment so that I can get some intimation from you. Or else, if you cannot understand, just say no or do something and type something. Okay, now what I go, if I expand it further, I will increase fonts. See, we have a layers, application layer, transport layer, but I am not going to explain all this layer. This is not a voice layer class. I just wanted to show you something which is relevant to question count. So what I am trying to say, when DNS query request sent to DNS server, it has a question request. It has a question. What is a question? The question is who is www inside the ekascloud.com. That is a question. Once the DNS server received that received it and checks whether ekascloud.com zone is exist. Is it exist? Yes, it is exist, right? We have ekascloud.com zone. Under ekascloud.com, do we have www record? Is it yes? Then it is going to send a response. It will send a response back to client. What is the response? The response is DNS query response. DNS query response. Let us go and check DNS query response. I will click DNS query response and I'll give a response query response success. See, in response we have a question and we have an answer. What is the question here is, the question is www.ekascloud.com is the question. If you see the answer is 172.30.0.20, that is the IP address, and it will put one condition, time to live. What is time to live? 3600 seconds. This time to live value, which gives a confirmation, so whenever DNS server send response back to client PC, it will say 3600 seconds. What is this means? If you resolve this DNS query successfully, that name and IP address will be getting stored in this DNS client cache. This is a client cache memory TTL value. This is a client cache memory of TTL value, which means, so let us go and check. Let us go and check with the client PC. This is a client PC, right? So what command is to check ipconfig / display DNS. You can see this display DNS. See here, time to live. What is time to live? 3227. So what the response got? www.ekascloud.com IP address is so and so. You save this into cache memory, so that computer has saved in the cache memory. If I ping back again, ping ekascloud.com, if I say enter, now the client PC won't generate any DNS query in backend, because the client has the cache memory in its client, so it will not generate to DNS server. Any query request will not generate by the client. Why it is not generating? Because it knows it has a cache memory. So this is how maintain the cache memory. Can I change the cache memory time to, it is 1 hour right now, can I change to 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours? Yes, we can change. How to change? We can change in the DNS server. I will tell you in the next another few minutes. If you have any queries, please let me know in the comment section so that I can answer your all questions. Let's go back to client PC. I will what I will do, I will ping once again. No, not pinging. I just go to ipconfig / flush DNS. What is this command? The flush DNS. Flush DNS is a command to delete the cache memory of client PC. Whatever DNS cache has been saved in the client wanted to delete, you can use this command to delete the cache memory. Flush DNS to delete the cache memory, display DNS to see the cache memory. Understood? After deleting the cache memory, I will go up and check display DNS. Do we have any display DNS? There is no cache resolver. What is the benefit of having cache? What is the benefit of having cache? Do you have any answer? What is the benefit of having cache? Can somebody answer here in comment section? I am waiting for it. Let me put a question here. What is the benefit of client cache? The use of cache memory. What is the use of cache memory? This is my question. Do you have any answer? Can you please put some answers, some words about this line? How DNS client will get the benefit of DNS cache? No response. See, if the DNS client has some memory, cache memory, so what happened is the DNS client will not generate much traffic. So many requests will not go to DNS server. So DNS server will be perform well. DNS server will be goes very well. So which means there is no network traffic is reduced and DNS performance will be higher. This is a benefit of client cache memory. So this is a default value and we can change it to any value. I will tell you later how to change this value. Hopefully so far clear. We understood DNS traffic and we also understood DNS commands. DNS command, client command. So client commands we understood, and we have one more command called nslookup. nslookup, this is one of the most important command in client PCs which we use for nslookup. See, if I enter this nslookup, I will come to know what is my DNS server and I will be able to resolve www.ekascloud.com. If I enter this, see, I am getting that associated IP address and name and all. So the DNS lookup command is to test the DNS server and DNS queries by using client PC. NS lookup is actually a utility in client PCs to test DNS server and to test the status of DNS server. That is what NS lookup use. So hope so you are very clear about it. So what our next topic? So we have clear about DNS query request, DNS traffic and DNS cache memory, client cache memory, DNS response, then DNS client commands. And we have to understand about secondary zone. So when we go for secondary zone, why should I go for secondary zone? So imagine I will close this network monitor tool. We don't want it anymore right now. So what I have to do, I have to go to let me here. Imagine, what if you have more number of clients to the DNS server? We have very less number of clients. Okay, when you have more number of clients in the DNS environment, so the more number of clients, you will get more number of requests. Just a minute, I'm just selecting all this. Not this one, select this, copy here, I'll paste it here. Yes, see, we have one DNS server. Imagine we have only one DNS server. What if you have many DNS servers? No, many clients. Let me bring as a client. So this is my, consider this is my client. Client 1, client 2. Client 4 clients are there. That's okay, fine. I'll make a group, I'll make many more clients for your understanding. I have 8 clients I may have 16 clients, I may have 32 clients. If the number of clients are getting increased, then obviously DNS server query request also increase. When the DNS server query request increase, the DNS performance automatically goes slow. How to solve this problem? Very simple. You bring one more DNS server here. That's all. You bring one more DNS server, and what you have to do? You have to do only one thing. You have to install DNS and make it secondary DNS server. That's all. So that's why I am going to create 172.30.0.20. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make 172.30.0.20 as a DNS server. So this is primary server, this is primary zone DNS server, and I make this one as a secondary zone DNS server. Secondary zone DNS server. So here we have to understand what is secondary zone. Secondary zone, why do we go for secondary zone? What is secondary zone? So secondary zone, a type of zone, or we can say like this, a copy of zone that exists on another DNS server. Copy of primary zone, copy of zone which exists on another server. So what we have, ekascloud.com is a zone. Whatever we have here, a zone, right? We have this ekascloud.com, we have a zone. That zone will be having a copy in the secondary. This is secondary. This is secondary zone. So both DNS servers will have the same zone. Copy of primary zone. And why do we go for secondary zone? What is the reason for going for secondary zone? There are two reasons: to share the workload balance. Of primary server and provide fault tolerance. What is the meaning of fault tolerance? The meaning of fault tolerance is if this DNS, primary DNS server down permanently, no problem. What you can do, you can use this secondary DNS server for providing the same service. So having same service, same zone with multiple DNS servers. Like this, you can make one primary, multiple secondary zones. But the only condition for secondary zone, it is read-only zone. Read-only zone. That's all. So let's go to implement how to create a secondary zone, how to use secondary zone, and how to test secondary zone. Okay, if you have any queries, please post your queries in a comment section so that I will answer your questions. If you keep on posting some questions, I feel that this session is live. Otherwise, I could have created one video, post it here, right? Why should I sit this time, take the use of live session? Anyway, thank you all once again. So let us go here back to C1. Let me confirm what options we have. We have this all. We go to C2. I just wanted to make this is DNS server. What I have to do, I will go to server manager by typing a server manager.msc server manager command in command prompt. It will open server manager. Once the server manager is open, so we can go and install DNS server here. It is opening. In this video series, I am going to conduct complete Windows Server Administration course, a full detailed subject including DHCP, DNS, Active Directory, single domain, multi-domain, everything related to Active Directory will come into this seminar. So don't miss any video, any seminar to get the knowledge of it. It is still loading. Yeah, now it is ready to install. I'm just installing it. So the same webinar will be available in Huzaifa YouTube channel. You can go there and you can watch the previous videos, everything. I have to select DNS here. DNS installing. Meanwhile, you can ask any questions. It is installing. It's taking little bit time. And meanwhile, we go back. We'll understand here what type of records we have here in this primary zone. We have NS record, SOA record and A record. We have only 3 records. If I copy this zone from primary to secondary, will all the 3 records has to replicate, right? All the 3 records has to replicate so that we can use this record for load balancing and so and so. So will these records will get replicate or not? we have to test. Now we have to wait and test. But it should not take this much time to install and all, but my laptop has some slowness. So DNS service is installed. After DNS service is installed, we have to open DNS mgmt.msc, open DNS management console. Under this console, we have forward lookup zone. Right click new zone. I'm creating a secondary zone, copy of primary zone that exists on another server zone. So we go next. Ekascloud.com is a zone name, ekascloud.com. We go next. What is the IP address of ekascloud.com server? 172.30.0.10, and this is a right fine IP address, and give next. Say finish. Will I able to see the zone? Will I able to read the zone? We have to test. Zone not loaded by the DNS server. Why it is not loaded? Because see, when we go back to this slide, see, we have a primary DNS server. We have a primary DNS server. We want to replicate all the copies. Records should be copied to secondary DNS zone, which is not copying, which is not loading, because we didn't create any NS record for secondary DNS server. Do you understand? We did not create any NS record for the secondary DNS server, or we have to allow zone transfers. Zone transfers. What is zone transfer? Zone transfers option to allow secondary DNS servers to access primary zone from primary server. So you have to decide this option in primary DNS server. You have to go to primary DNS server, go to tab, go to C1, you click on right click on properties. There you find zone transfers, and then you click only to the following servers, or to any server, or only to listed on the name servers tab. So right now the option is selected with only to servers listed on the name server tab, which we don't want now. We selected this option only to following servers. I have to type 172.30.0.20. So when I say this number, this IP address, what happens? So I am allowing my secondary DNS server to read this zone. I'm allowing the DNS server, that's why zone transfers. Now I go back to C2. If I give refresh, I will be able to read the zone. Do you understand? So, but I cannot modify. This is read only zone. I cannot delete, I cannot add, I can't do anything except read only. Do you have any question here to ask? So far no doubts, no questions. It's a very great session. Nobody having any doubts. Without having any doubts, keep on watching. Anyway, great. So how much time it takes from replicate record from primary to secondary? If I create one record here in A, let's example say A record, I created one A record. How much time it takes from replicating a record from primary to secondary zone? We have to know it. So let's go to check. Go to tab, go to C1. This is primary zone. I will create a new record, which you know already how to create record. If you don't know, please watch this session from the first. And I will create one record called file server.ekascloud.com. I say some IP address 172.30.0.30 something, which we don't have. Click OK, add done. So did this record will update automatically to secondary zone? Let's go back to C2, check. See, now I am in secondary zone. In secondary zone I don't have any records. Because why I don't have records? It has to replicate automatically. It is not replicating. I will refresh. See, now I see my record. So whenever you upload, whenever you change anything in primary, it will update. When it will update? It will update when you click refresh. Instead of refreshing, can you update? Can it replicate? Yes, definitely it will replicate. When it replicate, we have to go to primary zone, uncheck. We have to go, see here, understand carefully. And I got one question, Perumal. How to make this server has primary DNS server? Very good question. So what I have to do, I have to let me this is my finishing touch of this session. Your question is wealthy question. Actually I have to like your question because you only first question. Thank you for this questioning. And what I do here is I will go I have to show you something here, which is before refresh interval. See, refresh interval. So what is this refresh interval? See, every 15 minutes DNS server will keep on updating. So secondary server will ask every 15 minutes. Let me just a minute. I will copy this. I will paste it here. See, understand carefully. Every 15 minutes secondary server will send one request. Every 15 minutes. This is called refresh interval. Every 15 minutes. If the DNS server down, for temporary, you don't want to do anything, just keep quiet. If it is down, what happens? After down, it will go for DNS. Let me go. It will go for retry interval. What is retry interval? Retry interval is an option. Retry interval is an option. 10 minutes. So every 10 minutes it will try to get refresh. So understand, 15 minutes for refresh interval. If it is not updating for 15 minutes, it will go for retry interval. After retry, it will expire in 1 day. Which means I have to go to notebook. So what happens if it is down? It will wait for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes it will keep on retry whether it is up or not. So first 15 minutes refresh, the next 10 minutes, every 10 minutes it will keep on checking. It keep on checking for every 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, after one day, so this got expired. So how to solve this problem? Perumal, for your question I came out. Let's go to DNS. You just asked me, right? I am showing you. Secondary zone down, what to do, sir? Any solution? Secondary zone down, array, super. See, if secondary zone down, no problem here. You just create alternate one more secondary zone. If DNS server down, see, if the total DNS server down, right? See, let me give some clarity on these questions. One is asking what happened primary goes down. One is asking what secondary goes down. If secondary goes down, no problem, you create one more secondary. You have primary, right? See, you have original copy, you create many Xerox copies, no problem. But if you lost the primary copy, that's the problem. I hope you understood. So the problem is primary. If the primary goes down permanently, see, my words very clear. If primary goes down for permanently, not temporary. If it goes down for temporary, don't do anything, just wait it. What is temporary down? Restart, network disconnect, switch off, some alternate problem that could be updating, patch update, security update, like that. If it goes down for permanently, if it is a hardware crash, ransomware attack, something which happened to the computer, or some flood came to your office, your total server gone away and you can't do anything, that time what you should do? This is your question should be. I will go to tab, I'll go to server, let me delete it. Delete the zone. Delete. Before deleting, I have to tell you one thing I forgot to tell. See here, you see 1 hour TTL for 1 hour. What does this mean, TTL for 1 hour? You saw that TTL value for client cache memory. Client cache memory. If you say 2, so this is going to be a 7200 seconds for client cache. What is client cache? We understood the before, a few minutes before, 20 minutes, 30 minutes before. What is cache memory? If you look at the cache memory, you will understand. So the default cache memory of 1 hour, because the value is 1 hour. If you want to increase the cache memory of DNS server or DNS client, you can put 2 here, 3, 4, 5, like 10, or you can make it 1 day. It's all our choice. DNS client cache memory decides by server. In the server value will set by administrator. Remember this, administrator will ultimately decide the cache memory. This is what I wanted to tell. So I have explained you very clearly. I just wanted to delete this zone permanently. Deleting zone without backup. Deleted zone without backup. Now what happens? What happened? What do you think? What happens now? Tell something. You tell me. I'm just waiting for your answer. You tell me what happens. I deleted this zone permanently. In secondary, what happens? Will secondary work? And meanwhile, I got one question from Ram Kumar. One question, sir. Head office Chennai branch, office Bangalore. How to log in? Head office. Any install additional domain controller? Install branch office. Yes. See, before I just wanted to know how your head office Chennai, branch office Bangalore connected. They are connected via lease line connection or VPN connection. That's the first question. Once they are connected, are the computers on in branch office or the member of in head office domain controller? Is it? Yes, then they can log in. Still they are not able to log in, and you have to check the firewall port numbers. You should allow all the port numbers for login for all the necessary ports. We didn't discuss till now. We will discuss in another few sessions what are the port numbers are required to log in. And once the users will log in, right, when the so many users log in into branch office, that so much query request will goes to head office, so much burden. To reduce the traffic, we can place one additional domain controller in the branch office. That will be the best option. I hope you got your answer. The secondary will work based on existing record. Yes, Mr. Krishnamurthy said is something right answer. It works based on the right one. But actually the problem, it will work for only one day, because if you see the SOA record, it says expires one day. After one day it is going to expire, which we don't want to happen. And Mr. Perumal was a question how to recover, right? See, here is my answer. And we can revert to old data. No. Mr. Mohan Thala APJ is saying that revert to old data. See, actually we didn't take any backup of, right, to revert the old data. I didn't teach you anything backup. If I have taken a backup, then I can teach you something which we don't have any backup. We have a only option. Let me give the answer. Right click secondary zone, properties, change it to primary. Simple. Very simple. Change it to primary zone. If I click primary zone, apply, OK, and give refresh, see, whatever server 1 records will automatically change to server 2. So when the authority has got changed, now you have full control of the zone. You understood? So this is quite interesting topic. For me it is very interesting. For you, I don't know how you feel. See, if primary server goes down permanently, no problem, you make a secondary to primary. See, I told you one thing, once again I am telling you, if primary goes down for permanently down, then only you can make primary to secondary to primary. If that it goes for secondary, if primary goes temporary down, you should not make secondary to primary, because there will be collapse. Collapse. What collapse? See, whatever you create records in primary, that will not update here. Whatever you create records here, it will not update. But there is no purpose of having two zones with the same records, right? You understand? You should not make primary goes down for temporary. When primary goes down for temporary, you should not make your secondary to primary. When you should make your secondary to primary, when primary goes down for permanently. When this goes down for permanently, you make your secondary primary, and it will work as you want. It is all your choice here. See, I go to secondary zone. Now I am secondary zone. Now you change your DNS record according to your concept. Now you change whatever record you want, you can change it. After this, you can install a secondary zone. You can put one more secondary zone for this primary. When you have primary, then you can put thousands, not require thousands, we can put hundreds of secondary servers. That will be very great concept. Anything else guys to want to ask? See, our session, it was 30-40 members live session. Now we have reduced. I don't know what is the reason. If you like this session, please share this session. Whenever you start the webinar, right, please keep on share. So we want more people to get the benefit of this session. That's all. That's the motive. Anyway, Mr. Perumal says thank you. Thank you everyone for attending this session. I just wanted to stop the session, and the next session we'll continue with the stub zone and how DNS works in internet. After that, we'll have some conditional forwarder, unconditional forwarder, and route hints, and so many topics will be there. Mr. Mohan Babu asking what is stub zone. Definitely, Mohan Babu, I will explain you in the next session. This is enough for today's class, and next session I will be explaining very clearly what is a stub zone, very clearly. And I got one more question from waiting for next session, sir. Thank you very much. See, please keep on attending session. I'm going to explain everything, but I don't want to dump you in one session here. That's a motive. I don't want to dump the entire topic in one. I just want to take one simple topic, expand it, explain clearly, and close it. That's all. Next session we'll understand what is stub zone, how to use it, and what is the benefit, what is the difference between stub zone and secondary zone, then how DNS works in internet. And we'll have that so many concept. I will show you some surprising websites in the next session. Next session will be in next Sunday. Please keep watching our session. Thank you all. Bye. Got a question. If client machine mention both primary and secondary, DNS IP will work. Is it correct, sir? Yes. See, when we select a primary, when we set primary, it will go for primary. Actually, we have a detailed session about primary and secondary DNS, but I didn't bring today because we have a very deep dive concept into primary and secondary DNS. I will teach you there. And Mr. Karuna Murthy Shankar is asking, sir, AD with DNS failed. Secondary DNS will work, but AD? See, Mr. Karuna Murthy, your question has some correction. Actually, when AD is integrated with the DNS is completely different here. DNS is completely different. See, I will explain you. Don't worry. You may have this question in this scenario, no problem, because you don't know how DNS works with Active Directory. If I explain you that, no, you won't ask this question, because who knows Active Directory with the DNS, so you will automatically get the answer. But anyway, thank you. Please keep on watching our sessions. And see, I got one more question from you. Is the session available in offline? Yes, definitely it is available in offline, where I can see YouTube/C/Huzaifa. You can find here is the one where you can find it, all the sessions. Anyway, I hope you all got your answers, but thank you for all interacting with me to make this session live. And thank you once again. We will meet in the next Sunday. Thank you. Bye.